I don't know. Do we really have political parties now? Because we are actually practicing party democracy. Um, but today, as it is today, the PDP, they are in disarray. You don't even know who is in charge in PDP anymore. The Labour Party again, that ousted, that actually I consider the party that actually won the election, presidential election, um, is facing the same situation that PDP is facing. It's neither here nor there. No one knows who is in control. For someone like Peter Obi, I heard over the news that Peter Obi, I think it was this Rufai, he said Peter Obi was, he asked Peter Obi what's going on with your party. Peter Obi said he doesn't even know what's happening with that party. And so that means in that situation, even to Peter Obi, is a hopeless situation. So we basically do not have Labour Party. We don't have PDP. These are the two major parties that are supposed to be the core opposition parties. And now we have the APC. Um, I don't consider that as a party because since you can imagine, since Bola Tinubu became president, APC has no convention, no meeting, no NEC meeting, no NC National Working NWC meeting. Um, I don't get it. So we basically do not have, and besides, some of the key supporters of Tinubu seem to be kind of technically jumping ship. They've not come out plainly. People like Amechi, a sort of, they held meeting with the PDP with Atiku. These are failed politicians, Atiku and what's his name, Rufai, and other political bigwigs, a sort of. I call such people spent politicians. They had the whatever spent politicians that do not do, and Rufai was just spilling nonsense. Something that he was, all he said was actually something that he actually was in favor of when he was the governor. And most of the things he criticized, he talked about in his criticism, are actually, he was actually criticizing himself indirectly, because though he is also guilty of those criticisms. Barrister, what is your opinion on this issue of political parties? We don't even have, there is no any political party that we can say in Nigeria today is including that is coherent, including the ruling party. Barrister, what's your opinion on that? Am I right?
To a certain extent, yes. We have on paper political party democracy. You cannot contest an election except you are sponsored by a political party. Now, as in all emerging or developing countries, precisely because we do not have stable and strong institutions, once a party achieves power, the domineering effect produces a bandwagon in such a way that if you do not join the ruling party, you are kept out of the economy. You are kept out of everything. So you see people gallivanting to the ruling party. Today in Nigeria, the major opposition parties, the People's Democratic.
And sorry to cut you short before I forget. Again, let me add this. There is a report that Atiku alleged that 50 million naira was actually paid to opposition leaders each, 50
Yes,
million naira each.
I read the story. It may even be more than that because
Yeah, of
50
course.
million
It's
is
nothing.
50 million is
Of
nothing
course.
to bribe an opposition
Political
leader,
leaders, yeah.
Damagun, and these people in Labour Party. That is nothing. It could even be something more. But one thing is clear: the hand of the ruling party is in the critical condition of the major opposition parties, both the PDP and the Labour Party. But as of today, if you talk of the opposition in Nigeria today, it is the APC that is principally its own
Opposition.
opposition.
That's the point I was trying to make. You heard when I said that people are even
Yes.
going against him.
Because you cannot see any effective challenge from PDP, from Labour Party, or any other person. It's elements within the
The APC. That's the
APC
point.
themselves that are maneuvering and trying to outmaneuver
Yeah.
the control, the control group within the party. And we will see it as we approach 2027 because of the dynamics of politics in Nigeria. It's possible that if they do not find their way within the party, either they will ally with other parties and make those parties strong. We see meetings with SDP. If you know meetings, some elements of APC meeting with SDP, so they can coalesce into SDP and make it strong as a strong party
Yeah, that's
to take
where
on.
Rufai belongs to now. That's the
Yes,
campaign Rufai is working with.
to take on the ruling party. If that happens, the ruling party will be weakened to a certain extent. But to conclude now, or to have the feeling that they will be able to overthrow the government, even in the sham election, is being presumptuous at the very best.
Yeah.
I do not think there will be a threat. There are two major things that will happen in the approach to 2027. The major opposition to Tinubu's government is coming from the north. The north are entirely and totally fed up with him. If they have their way, they will get somebody else. But it is there that a problem will come. Because if you want to get somebody else, the South will say we must have our 8 years.
Yeah.
And you will now look at it and say, if we get another person from Tinubu from the South, where is the guarantee that that person will do only 4 years and stop at that? Because he can write it even on paper in agreement, but when
Yeah.
he has the power of the
Of
presidency,
course, what will you do?
it can be another thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you will reason and wisdom will prevail. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
The angel.
You will conclude that whatever issue is coming, let us abide the next 4 years so that we don't have issue with the power returning to us. So even if this man is killing us, let's just enjoy him for the next 4 years and take back our power rather than trying to cast our lot with somebody who will even want to extend those 4 years. So that dynamic going into 2027 may mellow the North down to support Tinubu.
Yeah.
And there is an example to that. I think it's almost an equivalent to what happened in Obasanjo's time. Remember that the North had an arrangement with Obasanjo for Obasanjo to do only one term.
Yes.
And after the one term, the man did not agree again. So you had to pipe down and allow him to take the 4 years so that there will be no argument, no dispute on the power coming back to the North. I believe that will happen in 2027. The second dynamic is the power of the presidency. We have said repeatedly that when the man was not having this power, he was able to take it. Is it now that he is having the power that he will allow somebody else to take it?
That's the point.
So these two dynamics will work in 2027 more than any conspiring entity within the APC or outside the APC. These two dynamics will determine the course of events in 2027.
Yeah, it is so sad, honestly. It's so sad that Nigeria is where we are. And besides, I don't see any difference between the military and what we are practicing now. Bola Tinubu is just ruling Nigeria as if he's a military head of state. He does not give regard to protest. He does not give regard to dissent. It does not give regard to the rule of law. It does not give regard everything. The two arms of government are at his beck and call. They are in his palm, in his hands. He controls them. Basically, controls them. Controls the judiciary and the legislature. That is just the unfortunate situation. So, that's why one of the reasons why I've been calling for military to actually take over, not the military generals, not the so-called corrupt, not so-called, right, the real corrupt generals. They are really, really corrupt. I'm talking about the military middle hierarchy. That is just it. Some people who still have good conscience, they are in the military. Some of them still have good conscience, and they are not happy with what is going on in the country. It is so sad, so very, very unfortunate. I hope Nigeria will call it a breaking point soon, before it becomes too late.